So now that we've kind of gone through the three core concept of like, how to operate within this Lego world, approaching your learning in tech, we can kind of go through some examples. So here's an example of how to construct a high quality Lego. And this is a super, super common example because I have seen this all the time. So one of the most common things that people learn to build when they're starting off in tech is some sort of onboarding flow. You have like email input, password input, and then you have a button to submit those two, and then it probably inserts some rows into a database. So it's full stack. So amazing. Like I have seen this so many times on pretty much everyone's like personal software projects that they built for school and they built for boot camp and they shared at LinkedIn. And I did this too. When I was at UCLA, I remember I took a databases course, and one of the ways we learned databases was we built like some small website that, once you played around with it, it was a CRUD app and then it inserts up in a database, but it had a really crappy onboarding flow. So I was kind of part of this first half here, which is, building a really crappy onboarding flow, which is a low quality Lego, which again is not really a value. So if we kind of move on to the next part of like, how do we evolve this kind of onboarding Lego into high quality Lego? Like we see now the depth of like what it truly means to build a real onboarding flow, right? And this is what the engineers at real companies are doing when they build onboarding flows. So there's like all these different things you have to think about, right? Like email input, they can enter into bogus email. Same thing with like passwords. You want to make sure you have some amount of constraints on like the length, and maybe have a special character, confirm password. Because like if you don't have a confirmed password, there's a chance that the user can just type out their password and then like they'll just never be able to log into their account because they don't remember what their password is. And usually the password is kind of fuzzed out, right? You have the black dots instead of like the clear text. Similarly, like show password toggle. This is a feature on a lot of onboarding flows. Like if you really want to, you can look at what you've actually typed in to make extra sure you didn't typo. Of course, forgot password flow, like people are human. Not everyone uses a password manager. If you've forgotten your password and you don't have this flow, that you're locked out of your account, right? You don't really want that to happen to a production user. And then I'm not going to go through the rest of them because it'll take like a year. But we can see, and we've all probably experienced this before, looking at the onboarding page for real apps, real websites, that building a true production level onboarding flow has all these different things, right? And like any real company, like among this big list at the bottom next to the green check, they want at least half of these, right? Probably like 75-80% of these, right? And like if we look around at like the onboarding flows that people are building and the materials that teach you how to build onboarding flows, almost pretty much none of them do this bottom half. They almost always do this top half, which is a very shallow form of learning. There's like, I just want you to be able to get the most basic thing working so you can feel proud of yourself and be like, oh, I learned how to make an onboarding flow, right? But here's the problem, as mentioned before. This top low quality Lego, no one wants that. There is no real company that will allow you to build an onboarding flow that is so basic and has all these holes in it, right? So if you have like learned like this top part, which pretty much most people learn after like even if they're new to coding, they'll learn how to do it within 2-3 months. No one cares because, again, you cannot deploy this top part to production. It is not a valuable Lego at all to any employer, right? And Rahul and I know that the vast majority of people in this community, I think like at least 55 to 70%, like their main goal right now is to either find like a job, like either find their first job or to find like a better tech job than what they have now. And a lot of folks are, well, how do I get the job? How do I get my dream job? How do I get a job, right? And this concept, I think, is really important there, right? You want to actually learn what employers want, right? So like this first part, it's easy to feel good about it. Like if you learn how to build an onboarding flow and you don't know how to do it before, like, oh yeah, I wrote some code. But again, employers don't want that. They cannot deploy this to production. But this bottom part here, they actually can deploy this to production. They have deployed to production, right? And so when you actually start framing your learning like this, like I want all of my Legos to be like a production company level Lego, that's when the employers will be like, whoa, I want to hire this person because they've already done what I do. But they've already learned like how to write company production level code on their own time.